Well, I thought of some shit. We had a lot of fun last week when we watched an old Royal Rumble, and I thought to myself, what if we watched an old SummerSlam celebrating 40 years of Schiavone?
Mm.
And I can't even take credit for all of the idea. As we're celebrating 40 years of Schiavone here today, we have a very special guest with us to do a little watch along. We like watch alongs in these parts, don't we, Tony?
We sure do. That's what we're all about. We didn't start out that way, but the way we started out, we bored the hell out of each other, so we changed it to watch alongs, and that's what we've been doing. And we kind of always say that this podcast is about guys getting together and watching wrestling together and reliving the past, be it a decade ago, 20 years ago, 30, even 40 years ago. And so that's what we're all about. So we're watching today.
And we're watching with one of our friends, one of our guy friends, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling friends are a real thing. And Tony and I are wrestling friends, and we're going to welcome in another one of our pals to take a look at SummerSlam 1989. This is your first and only SummerSlam, right, Tony?
Yeah, it is. I was gone by SummerSlam 1990. My last event was WrestleMania 6. So that was it. And, of course, SummerSlam followed that. But this was my only one, and this has to be one of my more exciting moments, to be able to work with Jesse Ventura. This was the first time I'd worked with Jesse. So it was a big deal for me.
And it's a big pay-per-view. This is before there were monthly pay-per-views. I mean, in this era, we had Royal Rumble, we had WrestleMania, we had SummerSlam, we had Survivor Series. That was it.
Quarterly.
This was a really big deal. And it's a really big deal for us to have a very special guest who's going to help us call it right down the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, AEW official, Mr. Bryce Remsburg. Bryce, welcome to the program, man. How are you, dude?
It's a pleasure to be here with you, the Podfather, Conrad, on this morning. And I guess it's okay to see Tony as well. You stretching, bud? You all right?
Yes, I am. Bryce, damn, it's so good to see you.
It's great to see you. It's not enough I get to see you every Wednesday, and some Saturdays. Might as well make it this beautiful, what is it, a Wednesday morning here on our way to Oklahoma? Great to see you, Tony. Great to see you.
It's good to see you. I a little inside information here. I probably get more texts from Bryce Remsburg. I see more texts from Bryce Remsburg than I do any person on the history of the earth every week. My phone dings. There's two different, and I won't go into it, but there are two different threads we're on, and it goes ding, and I'm thinking, there's Bryce.
Trying to get information, trying to either Tony's either, supplying information, a humorous gif, or wrangling your father-in-law, Conrad. That's one of Tony's, one of the many hats he wears in our parts. Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about text threads with Sanjay, I had a little, I had to look at my phone, make sure I didn't miss a text thread, because that's the straw that stirs the AEW drink is text threads.
Yeah, it is.
They're trying to get us all to go to Slack, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't either. It's like, isn't there some sort of meeting we have, or did we have a meeting that I missed about Slack?
Well, you were there, actually. You were in the room. You might have been inebriated. You might have been on some hallucinogens. You weren't there, but you were in the room. We had champagne at the end of the meeting because
that's right.
We were celebrating your 40th year in wrestling, much like we're doing today.
Right. Yeah, Conrad, they're trying to take us and move us over to this different
Slack. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
It's like,
you don't like it.
Well,
it's just easier.
Certain people aren't going to embrace it. It's never really going to stick. How about that?
Right. Everybody texts, okay? Everybody texts. I never thought, when texting first started, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Just pick up and make a phone call.
Yeah.
But now texting has become so much a big part of what we do, and we got so many different text threads that are very important text threads, including one to wrestlers, right? And they all get their text. They won't always answer an email.
You can email wrestlers all day. You can call them; they won't pick up. You can anything. Either Instagram DMs or text. That's how you get 22-year-olds' attention.
That's exactly right. That's right. So they will say, "Oh, I never saw that email. I didn't get it." But a text chain works. So I don't know. But anyway, ding goes my phone. There's Bryce.
Who would have thought, Tony, when you started in 1983, you'd be texting 18 and 19-year-old wrestlers, people that were, I passed the point a couple years ago where I had been refereeing longer than some of my coworkers had been alive, but that's pretty much double for this old fart over here in the Batman sweatshirt, right?
I love it. Well, listen, You sort of said something a minute ago, Bryce. I want to follow up on.
Sure.
You insinuated that Tony is really the wrangler for the Nature Boy, because he said that before on the show, but I thought he was just kidding. Is it really one of Tony's jobs to watch Ric Flair and keep him on a leash?
I think he's one of the wranglers of the Nature Boy. Is that fair to
Okay.
say? It takes a village, I understand, and that's a compliment.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah. When Rick was in Philadelphia, after Rick was in Philadelphia in the first event for us,
Which was a whole event, a whole adventure getting him there to start with.
that was tremendous.
It was
Yeah. So seeing Ric Flair in a wheelchair with a black cloak over his head being wheeled into a
Wait. Are you there? He really was in a wheelchair with a black cloak?
that's how we sneak people in the arena.
That's how we sneak people in the back. Okay.
When there's a surprise debut, it's like to be kept under wraps. So, there's nothing more inconspicuous than a wheelchair going by with a black cloak over it, being snuck into a room that says, special guest or something ominous like that.
I'm sure Rick liked that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did too. When he
I'm
was
sure
driven,
that's his favorite.
when he was driven, and I told you the story about how I opened the doors today. This is not Jim Crockett Promotions, 1986. Slammed the door on him, and he was laughing. And then I saw him wheel him in, and I'm thinking, what? Wouldn't it be great if I just did a lower clothesline right now? Just boom. Yeah. The chair would go woo way back.
We have Conrad. I am the travel manager of AEW, so we employ 5 drivers that help between Wednesdays and Saturdays pay-per-views, and it's just one of their jobs. They pick them up at the airport, they take them to the arena, they pick them up at the hotel, and Rick, God bless him, he tips them every time. Yeah. It's their job. You don't have to tip them. It's they're getting paid a salary by Tony Khan to do this, but he's insistent about tipping our drivers. So now they all want to drive him, so it kind of works for me.
Well, since I'm his contact, I think I better take over that driving.
There you go. That's right.
I was going to say, you should get those tips, Tony. I mean,
you'll have plenty of money for manscaping.
I'm just guessing those are not $5 tips, knowing Rick too.
No, they are not. No, they are not. They're 3-digit tips at the very minimum.
Wow.
How about that?
Yep.
Yep. So listen, everybody knows a game called Just the Tip, and with let's move on. Hey, we should talk, since we're talking about Ric Flair, I feel like we should talk about Henson shaving. Ric Flair loves a good blade job. Can we agree on that, Tony?
Well, he did.
Well, I think he still might. I mean, I have it on good authority that while Sting is wrestling his last match, Rick on the outside is just going to start cutting himself. That's what he does.
That's why the cloak over the wheelchair was black.
He was doing a blade job as he made it to his dressing room.